Hey, Tony Gaskins here. I'm headed to hop on a flight. I'm going to a sports team. Had a little issue come up and flying out there, and then they getting ready for their first game. So I'm going to talk with them. But one of the things I was thinking about is how the power of the mind, and just like once you stretch your mind, and that's why it's so important who you talk to, who you listen to, who you hang around, because this, like when you fly for schools, most schools, unless you got a real in with them and you've been with them forever, most schools, they fly you economy. And then if you want to upgrade to first class, you got to upgrade yourself. But on certain legs, when you book the flight, first class is already taken. So in this case, first class on my first leg is taken, and because we just booked the flight like yesterday or like the day before. So literally booking the flight 2 days before I gotta go, first class isn't even an option. Now I got enough miles to where on my next leg I am upgraded to first class, free of charge. But sitting in economy, it it burns my britches, in the sense of it's so different than first class. It's just way tighter. It's way if you haven't flown first class yet, find you a short flight that's like maybe 30 minutes to an hour and book your first class flight. Book it like 2 weeks out so that you don't pay a crazy amount, and you can just book it one way. Just book one way and then just fly first class. Like on Delta, that's a great experience. Of course, everybody else, it goes down from there. But the thing about it is just the way the mind stretches. And I know that sounds weird when you first hear it, because it's like, if it's something that you can't relate to because that's not an area that you've done, but related to something that you have, that maybe you had to do when you was a child that you no longer do. Like, imagine if you grew up in an island and you had to go outside to like this little out area to take a bath in like a tub, and then you no longer have to do that. And you come to America or go to a different country and you got a shower. Imagine if you didn't have like hot water and now you got hot water. Or imagine if you used to live in a really sketchy neighborhood, like this really dangerous neighborhood, and now you don't live in that type of neighborhood. Or if you had to share a bed with somebody or share a room with somebody and you don't have to share a room anymore. Imagine going to the next level of whatever in your living space, on your job, and then imagine having to go back, what it does to the mind. So think about this now, even with our animals. Like if you take a dog and you give a dog like wet food on top of the dry food, they go crazy for that wet food. And then when if you try to go back to just dry food, they will try not to eat. Like they'll try to go on an eating strike for like a day or two. Even your child, if you let your child play with the tablet and then you try to say no tablet, your child be ready to lose it, just because the brain can't even comprehend that. I just seen an article of a young man. I think he was 17, but he's 6'6", 230 pounds. I think it said he beat his teacher unconscious because she took his Nintendo Switch. So he used to plan on this Nintendo Switch. They say he may be autistic or something, but I don't think that is like that. Honestly, whether he had a diagnosis or not, any 17-year-old boy would have felt like beating a teacher unconscious, but may not have done it. But just think about the mind, even in that situation, how his mind could not compute or adjust to having his game taken away. And that's the thing, where that's what you have to understand, this trick about the mind. This is a trick about the mind that a lot of people don't realize. And sometimes people, I was talking to a team and a player, he asked me, because I was talking about how I built my life up, and you build your life up to where you got these bills and you got these responsibilities. And then if things get tight, if the economy changes, it could be a tough time. And he said, why don't you just build to a certain level and then stop? And I said, I said, in my mind, I'm a billionaire. So my goal is to be a billionaire. So I have to keep going. I got to keep pressing. I got to keep stretching myself, because the more I stretch myself, the more it makes my mind work. So never could I imagine earning what I've been able to earn, like month over month. Never could I imagine that, because where I come from, my race, my gender, my education level, like never would I imagine being able to earn. But the mind is capable of it. So I'm like, man, here I am with no college degree, with no mentor, and with no team, and able to do this with the grace of God. But even with God, what does the Bible say? The Bible says a double-minded man receives nothing from the Lord. So your mind has to be focused, and you have to have faith. You got to walk by faith. So one of the things that you could do in your life is you shift your mindset to say, hey, I'm a millionaire, or hey, I am a 100,000-aire. Hey, I am a billionaire. And you tell yourself that, and you say, okay, a millionaire needs this type of living quarters, this type of house. A millionaire is gonna have this type of car. A millionaire is gonna have this type of workout routine, this type of dressing style, this type of hygiene routine. This is what a millionaire gonna have now. So you tell yourself that. Your brain does not know you're not a millionaire. It don't know that you're not a millionaire. So when you working out 30 minutes a day, when you getting up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, when you getting dressed nicely, you putting your clothes together, even if it's casual, it still is thoughtful. So, my wife, she came in the bathroom this morning. I was in there brushing my teeth. She came in, she got on some joggers, but they're nice little. No, she don't. She got on some acid wash jeans, some dope little Nikes. She got on a white t-shirt. It got black word on it, and then she got on a green and white flannel, but it's kind of like the cowboy country kind of thick one on top, and then she got on a trucker hat. So it's like that is casual, but yet it's still curated. It's still thoughtful. It looks effortless, but it's not effortless. So that right there, that take brain power. But when you train your brain to do that, it'll start to do it effortlessly. And somebody will look at it and say, man, that's a cute little outfit. Like, that's a cute little outfit. Man, but it's like, that's not just like a matching sweatpants outfit. Like, you got on several different pieces with that. And so you have to trick your mind and tell your mind. So what I do is, even when my budget is tight, I live the same, and I just stretch my mind. I push my mind. And then the thing about it is, you can't be a worry wart. You can't be a worry wart. You got to know that something gonna come through. Something gonna happen. Let me just keep working. Let me keep the momentum. Let me keep my head up. Let me keep a smile on my face. There's going to be a breakthrough. Your bills might be 30 days late. Your bills might be 60 days late. Listen, if you're going to have success, you're going to go through that. These people who got it all under control, these people who, you can't have reward without risk. You can't have reward without risk. Even the Bible teaches that in the parable about the talents. The man who took no risk, he just buried his talent. That man ticked the king off, or whoever that was they was dealing with. He ticked him off. He said, your sorry, raggedy butt. Man, get your sorry butt out my face. Man, give me that talent. Because he buried it. He buried the money. But the other men, they took and they flipped theirs. But in order to flip it, you gotta risk it. Like the quote say, you got to risk it for the biscuit. So this is what you have to understand, meaning you gonna have to bet on you at some point. You're gonna have to bet on you. Now, you're going to have the mental stability in order to bet on you. And you're going to have a plan. You ain't just doing this willy-nilly. You're going to have a plan. But most of all, you're going to have a work ethic. You're going to have a work ethic. So it's sometimes you have to work and you don't feel like working. So here's an example. So like this Sunday, I really don't feel like working. But I may have to work. The reason why is because the way that I pay my bills is by being a life coach. So I have to life coach. So I may have to teach a class on a topic that people are really pressing me about. So if people are really pressing me about this topic, and if more than 3 people ask me about this topic, that lets me know, okay, this has to be a group coaching class, because I can't just talk to every person. And if multiple people is asking me about this, and this is my job, so it's no different than like a company having to put on an event, or a nonprofit, they have to put on an event. They got to, every year they got to have a gala. So they got to have this gala to raise funds. My son's school just sent out an email. They had a gala. They raised $325,000. And that goes to their tuition assistance program. So if you want to go to my son's school, then fill out an application. Now they got $325,000 to help you with your tuition. So they have to put that event on. You think they feel like putting that event on? You think they really want to spend $20,000 to $50,000 to put this event on? And then they got to have all the parents help them, in the sense of all the parents got to find something to donate. And like our class, the lady, she just took and she set it up herself, one of the moms, so that nobody had to do anything to make a basket like we normally have to do. And what she created, what she got done, it was like you and your friends have a luxury dinner. And it went for $8,000. That's what it bid it for. It went for $8,000. So that's a lot of money that thing came. And that dinner probably worth $2,000-$3,000. And could, $4,000 at the most, because it's just like you and 7 friends or something like that. So that right there is what I mean. You have to work. So you might not feel like going in your neighborhood and passing out flyers that you printed up at Kinko's. You might not feel like it, but you got to have that kind of work ethic. You might not feel like cold calling. You might not feel like cold emailing, like what I just did for my son. He liked this team over in Europe, and I got on Google, figured out, went to their website, figured out the coaches' names, went to LinkedIn, signed up for LinkedIn Premium, where I get to DM anybody. And I DM about 10 different people. One of the people who used to work for the club that my son loves, he's now independent. But this man still got the knowledge from the club. He got a connection from the club. So my son got a call with him today at 4:30. I did this at 1 o'clock in the morning. When everything else was done, I was thinking about where my heart is, and my heart right now is with my son, helping him get a college scholarship, helping him realize his dreams, doing everything I can, because one thing every man or every human lives with is regret. And I don't want my sons to have to live with regret. I want them to turn over every stone, flip everything. It's about to make me cry just thinking about it. But hey, I'm gonna do what I got to do. And it's gonna cost. And if it's gonna cost, I ain't got. Hey, if I got to go get on me a pole, that's why I don't blame no stripper. I can't knock no stripper now. If that's all they got to do now. Nah, it's other things to do. I'm not getting on no pole. That's just a figure of speech now. Somebody, oh, Tony, you condone this? Oh my goodness, I unsubscribe from this channel. And I ain't getting on no pole now. But hey, if it costs more than what I got to use my gift. I'll be teaching a class every day. All right, today class is $25 classes every day. But hey, that's what you have to do. You got to use what God is giving you. So if God is giving me a unique skill, you know how to cook, you know how to sing, you know how to draw, you know how to paint, you know how to clean up, whatever you know how to do, whatever you know how to do.
Please touch screen for ticket.
Do not sleep on your gift. Do not sleep on your gift. I'm telling you now. Don't sleep on your gift now. Come on now. So listen to me. That's the trick of the brain. And so I'm going to work with this team, but I said, man, I want to see my son game. So the lady was telling about the flights. Tomorrow, and it had me getting in 5-6 p.m. I said, no, can you get me another flight? She said, well, the flight that'll get you back home at noon is leave at 5 a.m. I'm like, let's do it. Like this flight this morning, I'm boarding 6:48 a.m. But my son played at 1 o'clock. I thought he played at 5 o'clock. He played at 1 o'clock. So I'm gonna be late to the game, but I should get there by halftime. But that means something to me versus staying and watching the team do half a practice and having to leave out halfway through practice and all that. That's too complicated. No, I want to be at my son's game, and I'm gonna miss some of it, but that matters to me that I'm at his game, and so I'm creating a way to still be at his game. So I say that to say we have to be intentional about what we got to do and what we call to do. And it may be uncomfortable. It may be inconvenient, but we got to be willing to do it, to do the work. We got to be willing. And so that's what I want you to realize and understand. Don't sleep on your dream. Don't sleep on yourself. God bless you, and we gonna talk soon.